Misty mountain views and rustic mud huts where bombs used to drop. Every building here is new since the war ended. Poverty when it comes to material things, but not spirit. South Sudan, Africa, a country of contrasts, a country of hope. Home to 10 million people and a 50-year civil war. Now a free country, separate from Sudan. Homeland to an Omaha doctor who escaped and now returns. It's the ultimate house call to a remote corner of the world. After two 10-hour flights and a 4-hour ride on rocky roads.
This is a bridge.
This is a bridge.
Dr. Joseph Dumba is home. He brings friends, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and prayer leaders.
The people are so wonderful here. We just love to see all the excitement.
We give them hope that soon we'll be able to help a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And that's the best thing you can tell them.
It's a medical mission trip to his homeland, South Sudan, Africa, a place where there's no access to quality medical care for 500,000 people. It's one of the most underdeveloped areas of the world. 8,000 miles away from Omaha, Nebraska, this is Kajakeji, South Sudan, Africa. It's a place that has a pull on an MD and refugee. It's a calling he can't ignore.
This place was all bush, and it was bombs dropping from 30,000 feet up in the sky.
The Omaha doctor, proud to show off his birthplace, leveled during the war. The mud huts called tukels, where Dumba grew up. His mother's grinding stone called a kijo to grind maize. And his mother? She's buried here in the front yard.
It always makes me very happy, especially when I come and see my mom's grave, She worked so hard for us when we were growing up and raising us, especially going to school,
Dumba's friends take it all in.
It's amazing. It puts everything in light of where he's come from.
Dr. Jason Fife did his residency training with Dumba. The team wanders into the market, overflowing with produce.
It's very interesting. I think they have everything here.
It's the Walmart of Kajakeji.
I got this knife here that they made.
I bought a flashlight and some batteries.
All of this new since the Civil War ended 6 years ago. Some things haven't changed. The church that formed Dumba as a little boy welcomes him and his friends.
And to let you know that you have many, many, many brothers and sisters in other parts of the world that are praying for you.
Dumba's father and most of his siblings still live here.
I think with all the suffering that we have had in this country, it is faith that actually pushed us through. Without faith, we wouldn't have made it.
He's a hometown hero. Home again. To make a difference for his people.
He's a superstar here, and he doesn't act like this.
You never knew?
Never knew. Never would know.
The work starts at sunup. Each day this week, the team travels to a remote village in this undeveloped nation. Every destination, at least an hour away. The roads, barely passable. They're rented four-wheel drives on dirt roads, dodging rusty bicycles. They set up in schoolrooms, offering free medical clinics for villagers. Nurses from Omaha are the gatekeepers.
Just one person, okay?
The crowds are massive.
Almost unbelievable.
I hope we can help all of them that are here today.
The medical team is diverse and energized.
This is my first time here, so it's just kind of staggering the chaos that's going on.
None of the doctors here have ever seen a rash quite like this.
Dr. Jim Steyer is the veteran here.
Oh, you know, the doctors take joy in their work. We're pretty tough. Most of us have been here before. We knew what we were in for when we came.
The school bell rings. It's the rim of a tire. And clinic begins.
Hello. My name is Daniel.
The patients line up early, walking for miles, dressing up for their doctor visit.
Whenever they come to see you, it's the best clothes they have. If it's torn, that's the best they got. When they go to the doctor and the church, those are two places where they have to be completely clean.
The lines are long, wide, and slow, often wrapping under a massive mango tree for shade. The school kids, barefoot in the dirt.
No, they don't have shoes. I think most of them, that's all they can afford.
Most have never seen a doctor or nurse. The cases are hard to fathom.
Iman, can you hear me? Iman.
A sidewalk seizure. When he comes out of it, they'll give him seizure meds to last a year.
But we need to cool him off a little bit.
Here, there are cases that would fill any American emergency room 10 times over.
Gentleman's had a motorcycle accident and very, very infected wound.
I'm getting ready to give him a shot of Rocephin, 1 gram, for the infection.
Omaha nurse Glenette Robinson gives the man heavy-duty antibiotics.
We could probably save him about his leg.
They see things that are puzzling.
She has these markings on her chest that I thought possibly were tribal markings, but those scars were put on her by somebody trying to cure her of some illness. We can't imagine why anyone would do that to this little girl.
There are countless infections.
She has an infection all on her head. How long has it been there? Wednesday? The rash is just 4 days? Is it pain?
Much of it treatable with medicine donated by families in the heartland. Tens of thousands of dollars worth of medicine, stretching beyond belief here.
Does your ears hurt?
That's ER Dr. Rob Benson. It's his first time in Africa.
I think we're making a difference. It's frustrating because it's not what we're used to. We're used to having so much at our disposal.
Each doctor dealing with heartbreakers, a tumor in her eye socket. She needs surgery 12 hours away.
Her mother's paralyzed. She's with a friend, and we're going to try to figure out a way to get her down to Kampala.
And it doesn't end.
He fell in February. There's no emergency room here, so it's swelled up and it keeps swelling.
This little guy can't walk. The 10-year-old's knee broken and frozen in place.
This is as straight as he can make his leg. And he's a tough kid.
Omaha doctor Bodo Troy putting on a tough exterior. Other images and stories locked in his mind.
We had a girl yesterday at 3 o'clock that was very quiet, and I was trying to have fun with her. And she finally opened up to the interpreter and said, "Oh, I haven't eaten all day." So I found some beef jerky and some water and gave it to her. But what about tomorrow? What about the 1,000 other kids? We are so insulated from this. We're worried more about the drive-up window and complaining because you had to wait 1 minute for your Happy Meal, and here, nothing.
They know new patients will line up again tomorrow and the next day. They do it for them.
You always want to give back somehow, and this is they need it more than anyone I've ever had the opportunity to help.
After a while, all repeating the same mantra.
We do the best we can, but we can't help everybody.
They do it for him.
I feel that, I'm blessed to have the knowledge that was given to me by my teachers and by God, and that in order for me to, fulfill what I really want in my heart is to help somebody else.
He's a magnet to others, pulling them all into his passion.
He's a hero. He's a rock star here. He comes back. Most of the doctors that have immigrated, they don't. They build their nice life, their nice American dream. He has a passion for his people, and obviously a strong faith.
Dumba's American dream sits on this scenic hill overlooking Uganda. It's a medical clinic built inside shipping crates.
It's going to be by far the best medical clinic probably in all of South Sudan, if not the whole country. Yeah, it's going to turn this part of the country around and make people more prosperous and increase the life expectancy. And yeah, I think it's going to be an incredible draw.
Inside, an X-ray and ultrasound. There's a pharmacy, exam rooms, even an operating room. Dumba's nonprofit, the Healing Kadi Foundation, and Omaha donors shipped this $400,000 clinic here 6 months ago. They stuffed it with donated books and supplies. They even unloaded these bassinets. They're from Methodist Women's Hospital in Omaha, and they're for newborn babies. Unfortunately, the clinic can't open soon enough for some patients.
Can't walk.
Alex is 7 years old, in severe pain for 3 days. It's life-threatening. His appendix ruptured.
When your appendix bursts, like a poison and infection circulates through your bloodstream, it can make you septic, and it can kill you very quickly.
Nurse Alicia Aboud has experienced this herself.
I know the pain that he's probably felt and is feeling right now, and it's horrible. It's very, very bad, and it's sad that they can't even go to the doctor and get any medicine just to help the pain, you know?
They give him a shot, a chance to fight the infection.
This is just a surgical issue. It needs to be addressed right away.
We're blessed in the United States, and we don't know that. We complain about little things that don't really matter.
What matters? To these Africans, it's back-breaking work. At the permanent clinic site, they dig. They'll dig for a quarter mile. No gloves, no shoes.
It's a good challenge, you know. Without challenges, we won't do things any better, you know. So anytime you meet a challenge, you start inventing things and doing things another way.
They're making a trench to lay pipe from the well to the clinic. It takes them 3 days.
In America, something like this could be done easily in a few hours, if not a day at the most. And here these guys are going to be digging for, several days, but they seem to enjoy it and have no problem with it. It's just the norm in this part of the world.
And there are other challenges, like moving this 3,000-pound generator into a building 20 feet away, using only ingenuity and manpower.
There's no totem pole here. There's no hierarchy of here and here. Everybody wants to work together for the good. And we don't need to be able to speak the same language. We know what we're here for, and we know what we have to do, and everybody does it.
They gather simple stuff, sticks and stones, and they build a bridge, avoiding danger along the way.
This is not good. Don't kill it.
Using simple machines of the ancient Egyptians. Finding a way to succeed.
Yes!
Challenges this war-torn country is used to. Safe roads, quality water, the health of the people. How do you even begin to serve the needs of a country in its infancy? It's a question we brought to the leaders of South Sudan. The governor, the head of treasury, roads, health, even the vice president of South Sudan. Dumba sees them all on this trip.
The plan is to rotate some of the American doctors to actually come through, those who want to do short-term mission.
The American doctor is selling his healthcare idea to them, asking for support for this clinic and for a proposed 75-bed hospital next door, a current cow pasture. He tells them services will not be free.
When you create welfare states, welfare systems, people begin to come and they say, I want this, I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and they don't want to work. You have to work.
He says when people pay for health care, even a little bit, it creates ownership, not entitlements. He's even willing to barter for care. A couple chickens, a bag of grain. After all, he has a medical staff of 10 people to pay.
Otherwise, you will fail. They have to be involved. The community has to be involved.
And the leaders, they say they have countless competing priorities. They need outside help.
We want to catch up with the rest of the world.
The vice president wants the world to see these images, to understand the need, like this. It's a house call inside a mud hut in the remote town of Lijo.
Very dehydrated. Look at that. Okay, she's all bones now.
A woman has an abdominal tumor.
She's pretty sick. She's seriously sick.
She's at home, dying.
So we're going to give her some IV fluids and see if we can hydrate her a little bit. I don't know that we can help her long term, but as much as we can do,
it is frustrating. I think that's one of the things that drives gives me the energy to work even harder to try to build something that's more accessible to people.
All week, Dumba's worked this hard for every patient he's encountered. This woman is his own aunt.
What can you do? It's in the middle of Africa, you know.
And the answer to his own question is in the middle of Africa, on a scenic hillside overlooking Uganda.
Open your eyes.
All week, doctors put their hands on patients.
Let's see your fingers.
No gloves, no fear.
I got my shots.
Yeah.
She has pain.
There's more than the science of medicine going on here.
The touch, and I think the art of medicine and touching and talking, and I think there's truly healing in that.
As hard as you can. Do this.
In medical school, we are taught that you have to touch the patient because touching is a healing. Every time you touch a patient, it stimulates the immune system, I think.
They know drugs help the physical body heal.
So many people are saying thank you and are so grateful for the very most basic things, even just a little bit of Tylenol.
But what's left after that medicine is used up?
And I ask that you give her comfort and peace.
In a schoolroom next door, they hold hands and share prayers.
That Jane would not be coughing up blood anymore.
Africans and Americans, Bibles open, many faiths, one mission.
Amen.
I think it just is an opportunity to show physically that you care for someone, that you are invested in what is happening right here in this prayer circle.
They pray for water, for food.
Families that are broken because of alcoholism, because of polygamy, because of domestic violence.
Sherry Shai is a behavioral health specialist from Omaha.
I want to pray for them. I would also, if I had the money, I would open my checkbook.
There are other ministries here. Isaiah brought his keyboard. Amy and Amanda came here to work with children.
We are from Nebraska.
They hand out art from Omaha kids.
You get to take these home. You can keep these. I love seeing them smile. And they have so little, yet they're so happy.
Amanda here for her late father, Wayne, instrumental in building the mission trips and clinic. Sharing crayons, a rare treasure here. Crayolas have never known such joy.
Probably over 200 pounds of crayons.
Mission workers spending 8 hours a day healing the spirit.
Because hope's the only thing that lasts forever. And so it's my joy to give them something that will last forever.
Believing they're making a difference in the clinic and beyond.
I think the impact is greater than we can imagine.
Hundreds of thousands in donations made this medical mission trip possible. Omaha families pitched in, donating vitamins and pain relievers. CVS pharmacies served as drop-off points for donations.
I think this is the biggest bottle of vitamins I've ever seen. Check that out.
Schools in Omaha and Council Bluffs collected medicine and soccer balls.
I know people are less fortunate than others, so with us being able to help them with what we have is awesome.
Church groups from Omaha's Covenant Presbyterian packaged crayons and made prayer bracelets, acting locally, thinking globally. The women and girls of South Sudan, Africa, in constant glistening motion. lifting the water, lifting a nation. Raising their children, the center of their lives. Following history, doing what their mothers and grandmothers have done before them. A pattern that takes a toll on these strong, brave souls. The workday starts with the morning light and the first walk to the well. A chore only the women here do.
How many times a day to the well?
5 even.
5
Sometimes
times.
6 even.
Oh.
You bring them.
No.
Yeah?
Let me try.
40 pounds of water, balanced on the head, so their families can cook and wash. The American mission workers are in awe.
Oh my word, it was just so impressive to think about like how they must be so strong and just like, I mean, it was incredibly heavy. I tried to lift it up and I couldn't carry it.
After they fetch the water, they're bent over, cleaning, cooking. All around the mud huts that have housed their families for centuries.
It was just a one little round room and then with the kind of the reeds on top coming down. I don't know where they keep everything and how they keep everything so clean.
Women literally carry the family on their backs. Those with no education and few skills break rocks, creating uniform pieces of gravel by hand, one stone at a time, selling the piles for building materials. Not Stella Juru. She has laundry duty before and after school.
When you uneducated, what you will do is just digging. So it's good for us to go to school such that we work, we become working class, we have the salary.
The 19-year-old is rare. She knows it's a hard life squeezing a living out of the dirt here. She's in 11th grade, in a culture where most girls have 6 years of education, quitting grade school to marry and have children. She has another plan.
Nurse is a very good job where you can cure everyone who is sick.
Education and the will to push forward. It's a game changer in this part of the world.
A lot of times the men, because of the war, have already died. And so the women want to be able to support their children. A lot of them will actually raise the food and that they bring here then to sell. And it's their desire to be able to help their own family out.
With families here living on $1 a day, women are learning quickly they have earning power. Omaha accountant Anita Rodriguez takes a role in teaching women budgeting and launching their own businesses.
It's not like, well, now I can be independent and go off and do my own thing. It's like
all about the family.
It's all about the family.
That strenuous work aging their faces and their bodies. Back at the clinics, every African woman over the age of 20 has the same symptoms.
The head hurt worse than the back?
Doctors dub it South Sudan syndrome.
Osteoarthritis, this woman carrying all these weights on their necks and complaining of neck pain and back pain as they age.
Rib pain from strapping babies on their backs. Heartburn from the constant bending over. Women often looking years beyond their age.
On your back? How old?
At the clinics, interpreters like Julius Michael
She's saying that according to the moon,
help doctors sort through the symptoms. Julius Michael left Sudan when he was 8 years old, his large family on the run from rebels and bombs.
the camp became under attack, the refugee camp.
Making the decision to split up to get their only son to the safety of America.
I kind of lost contact with my biological parents and my siblings. As long as you were survived, you just kept going. As long as you were alive, you kept going.
Julius grew up in Texas, the young man still on the run, this time as a college track star at Sam Houston State University, leaving there with a master's degree.
I was just very fortunate. I'm lucky. I'm very blessed.
Julius says the culture dictates resilience.
You have to be able to push through and try not to think it's not as bad as you think it is. Somebody always has it worse.
This is a tribal society where men are the decision makers. the ones who determine if women go to school and when they marry, the jobs they take. With rich topsoil 3 feet thick, this remote land has the potential to be the breadbasket of South Sudan. It's a family business.
What we're looking at is the unity of the family working together. We have a lot of material things, but sometimes we can learn from these cultures, and it's something precious. It's so valuable to keep the nucleus of the family together.
You could grow anything here.
Ben Yengi is a commissioner here, the land drawing the businessman back home from Australia.
The tranquility of this place and the beauty of these rolling valleys made me dream all the time of coming back to southern Sudan.
He houses medical mission teams at the Healing Kadi compound, providing mosquito nets and meals.
That's all right. Oh, that's good.
The medical clinic and hospital plan, part of his dream for his native country.
Women here work very, very hard. And to me, it seems like they are second-class citizens. Do you see that changing?
Yes, because when you see women here and you compare with women in Juba City, then you see a big difference.
And what is the difference?
The difference is that the people in Juba City now are able to open up their mouths and able to speak out.
Juba is the capital city, 75 miles away, a world away, where female leaders say setting the tone for a girl's life starts with their parents.
I was raised in a family where education was regarded as important, and the contribution of women was regarded as much as important as that of the boys.
Angelina Tenney is a lawmaker here, and though Stella hasn't met her, they share the same values.
My parents encourage me to go to school, first study and get everything.
Knowing that if this country is being built on the shoulders of women, they also need to use their heads. Each child you see in South Sudan is a survivor of childbirth. Each mother equally resilient. Her name was Esther, and this is her funeral. Her casket sits under a mango tree. 44 years old and 9 months pregnant, her blood pressure spiked and then dropped. Then she bled to death. No one could save her or her baby.
And they started crying, I started crying too, because I just couldn't bear it anymore. You know, it's difficult.
She had 4 children, she and her husband, Jacob.
You can see they're too small, they're too young. I don't know what to do right now.
Giving birth is the most dangerous thing a mother in South Sudan can do.
Basically, everything in life is a struggle.
A fact not lost on Angelina Tenney, a mother of 4.
Just think about, the mother that is in her lifetime would have a chance of losing two kids at birth.
She's a member of the South Sudan Parliament and wife of the country's vice president.
South Sudan has the highest mortality rate, one of the highest in the world, and especially, mother-child mortality. Morbidity rate, I cannot even begin to talk about.
Here, 1 in 4 babies die during childbirth, and 1 out of 7 mothers will lose their lives while giving birth. The free clinics offered by American doctors this week may be their one chance for medical care.
I came here for treatment with my kids. Yes.
And have they seen a doctor before?
No, I've never seen any doctor.
Ever?
Yes.
With poor hygiene and no preventative care, keeping children alive is a challenge too. Dr. Troy hears something.
Well, this baby's a 1.5 years old, stomach pain and headache is what the mother says, but you can hear a heart defect. It sounds like there's a little hole in the heart.
The other doctors take a listen. The nearest hospital that can help is 12 hours away by bus.
Our children, before they reach the age of 5, is a touch and go.
Here, 1 in 4 children die before their 5th birthday. A scratch, a bug bite, a simple infection like this becomes deadly.
It's right there.
This 10-year-old girl's hand, 4 times its normal size.
Does that hurt her a lot?
Can I sleep? She was scared. She was getting ready to cry, and I said, "No, don't cry. We're going to go and see the doctors right now."
Have to lance it open and give her some antibiotics.
Grief is a part of everyday life here.
I always ask all the ladies how many children they have, and they always answer with 2 numbers, the number alive and the number dead.
This little boy is from a family of 6 children, 3 of them still alive. With no prenatal care and no doctor's visits, you'll find harsh realities like Esther's along every dusty dirt road here. Something not lost on the new guy on this mission trip. Dr. Rob Benson tries to wrap his mind around what he sees here.
Africa is a place of extremes. It's rich in paradoxes. The land itself is so beautiful, and the people are so beautiful. But in the same face, you can see so much suffering and yet so much beauty. It's sobering to see so many individuals, human beings, each one with a large amount of suffering. But then again, when they smile, it's the complete opposite, pole.
There's a pride here among the people, a kind of hospitality that's timeless and pure. It's a place just starting to find its rhythm after the last civil war. A free country for just under 2 years.
It's exciting to see, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
South Sudan, Africa, a country of growth and contrast. Cell phone towers in the shadow of mud huts.
Hold on, Pepe.
A new thatched roof here, a solar panel there. We followed the sound of drums and laughter to this neighborhood. And there's timeless hospitality, the children eager to please the unannounced visitors, including Omaha doctor Chuck Tomick.
One reason why I love coming here is everybody treats you like family, and they feel like they want to entertain you.
From drums to wind instruments. At one point, our security man, Modi, traded his gun for a drum. Modi is a soldier who fought for freedom for his country. He fought for them.
He sits down there with the kids like a gentle giant with the little kids. I never knew he had a voice like that. It was fantastic.
The women, operating a hair salon, chimed in.
Pamela, Pamela.
A shared gift of music. A simple, precious gift, giving us everything they've got.
You could tell they were proud at what they were doing too, and they wanted to put on a good performance for us. They probably would have sang all day for us if we hadn't left. See you, kids. See you, bud. See you,
It's the rainy season in Africa, where clean water is a precious commodity. When it rains here, villagers catch the water and use it to wash and bathe. 90% of the people here have no electricity and no running water. We're learning that's the reason so many of them are so sick. Water. It's life-saving. But in this part of the world, it's taking lives too. In front of the clinic, a puddle fills this woman's jug.
In this area, we have about 35,000 deaths with water-related issues, mostly children from the uses of bad water.
John Bueno is a water purification specialist from Omaha, working in South Sudan, Africa to launch this medical clinic, sponsored by folks in the heartland.
They just don't understand it, they don't see it, and I wish that we could do more.
This balancing act is a way of life with women and children, fetching water 3 to 5 times a day. This graceful image of Africa is sheer survival. We ask these children to lead us to their well. They guide us barefoot through rocks and brush. We clock it at 3/4 of a mile from their house, There's no worn path here, which means they get their water elsewhere. Later, we track down those children we followed earlier, and our suspicions are right. Their water comes from a creek right next to a cow pasture.
This clean water's too far away, so it's sad.
Safe, available water. So basic, so complicated.
When I see stuff like this, it totally breaks my heart because I have young children at home that have the privilege of drinking clean water.
Back at the clinics, the American doctors see disturbing ways the water is slowly killing these children. See their big bellies? They're full of parasitic worms. Father of 7 children, Dr. John Franklin, explains.
This is called kuru, or intestinal parasites, probably tapeworm. And the tapeworm, you can actually feel. You can feel it rolling in your fingers, and it causes some malnutrition, it causes skin itching.
With worms stealing the nutrition of the little ones, children can't grow. They become more susceptible to infection and disease.
The kids have the reddish hair when they're malnourished. They don't get enough proteins in their diet, and it causes the red color to the hair.
They can treat that. Thousands of children coming to the clinics get parasite medicine.
When you give them a medicine, even if it's a one-time medicine, for the next 6 months, they're going to be fine. You know, they will clear everything and then they will grow. And by the time you come back there, they speak.
Those parasites are traced back to the water, even clean well water.
Inside of their containers. So when you come to a well and you bring good water and put it in here, you're going to get sick no matter what.
Their containers are filthy. Bueno takes a chlorine solution to the well.
Now, we're going to put the chlorine in here to kill all that bacteria.
It's clear to the moms what they need to do.
I like it. I like it. That's very good.
On this day,
Like you.
a clean understanding and a fresh start when it comes to one of life's most basic needs. Along with clean water, every child needs to run and play to grow.
Yeah, you got it?
When school children from Omaha donated soccer balls to hand out on this mission trip, they probably didn't anticipate this reaction. Over and over. The mission team shared 20 soccer balls with native children on one condition.
Can we trade? Can we trade for that? He said yes. Okay.
The children had to give up their homemade toys, socks stuffed with dirt and wrapped with plastic garbage.
Little kids just on the side of the road playing with this ball that was made out of trash, basically, and they got a ball that we had brought for them. They were just thankful, and they started playing. It was just amazing.
Kids all over the world are the same, playing with the ball, having fun with their friends. It's better than Christmas. I don't remember the last time I was that excited about anything.
This pickup game with mission volunteers left the old guys in the dust. In this game, the winners keep the new ball.
It's not just about medicine. This is beautiful. Only a little bit's about medicine, about the people. It's worth 1,000 words, that ball.
This American doctor's childhood wasn't so carefree. He had his own share of toys made out of trash, and his days on this primitive land were sometimes terrifying.
You're fleeing and you're running and you're doing whatever you can to keep yourself alive.
When Joseph Dumba was 20, he was fleeing for his life on a 3-day trek through the African bush. He talked an enemy soldier into letting him live. The oldest of 7 children, Dumba's the son of a peasant farmer.
Boom, there's a bomb dropped and everybody just scattered and everybody started running. And you run wherever you can run or follow a group that is running somewhere and you find yourself ending up in another country.
He spent 2 years in a Kenyan refugee camp and once in the U.S. went to work for minimum wage at Taco Bell.
And all the tacos you can eat. Actually, they provided actually food last day. That's a good thing. So you come home, you don't need to buy any food.
There you go.
So for us, $180 coming from Africa, that was a lot of money.
He pushed a broom, worked as a janitor, and studied his way through community college, and med school.
Okay, there you go. That's good. I clean the bathrooms. I clean anything that's spilled, you call me.
No job beneath him. After med school, the news from his homeland was haunting.
Every time I get emails, it's dying. People just dying. It's just people just dropping like flies, So I'm like, we got to do something about this. We have to help somebody else.
And so he's back, doing what it takes to raise a country out of a war zone, one patient at a time. We'll be right back. Three nurses, 7 doctors, youth ministers, and prayer leaders. It's a mission team spending a week in South Sudan, Africa, working 12-hour days to make a difference. Before the week is out, they'll treat close to 10,000 patients. All week long, the mission team deals with issues that weigh heavy on their hearts and muscles. Sometimes, you just have to let loose.
Look at that ripe one over there. Oh, missed it.
It's mango season in South Sudan.
Oh, no.
It's picking them that poses problems.
Oh, almost.
Smile.
Each day, the medical mission team finds a way to connect with the locals.
How precious that they are, and how life is precious.
Omaha nurse Glenette Robinson brings joy.
You want to see?
They give it back tenfold.
That's you guys.
The children never see themselves. Digital cameras are a window to the world. There's simplicity here. A newness and innocence.
You ready?
A place where a balloon is magical. Their cares carried away just for a moment. The doc's getting carried away too.
Do you plan on shaving this week?
Yeah, no. I'm going to go back to Omaha like this.
You're getting a little scruffy there.
Farmers markets have popped up since the war ended, along with local delicacies.
What do you think that is?
What is it called?
Migi.
Miggy?
Migi.
It's skewered roasted mice.
Is it
good? It's pretty good.
Tastes like?
Chicken.
Later, neighborhood kids proudly show off their catch.
It's delicious.
Their families will feast tonight. Back at the well, this mom from West Omaha is helping with housework. Denise Scholes wants to carry the water, just like the local women.
Denise, you rock. You're super mom.
And while she muscles through the quarter-mile walk, Omaha Children's Minister Amanda Narrow is the Pied Piper. Meanwhile, a little mountain climbing.
I can't get up there.
Okay, it's a termite hill, hard as concrete.
King of the anthill.
A tiny bit of free time, well spent, in a place far from home. And sweet rewards for those who persist.
This is why we come to South Sudan.
I'm repairing their flag.
Mending South Sudan and a weathered flag. We see a symbolism here that goes beyond words.
They're fighting for, during their civil wars, the freedom to choose.
Omaha Dr. John Franklin uses a needle and thread.
They didn't have control of their own resources.
You get it to me? Get it to me? Get it to me?
Good.
Yeah? Get it to me?
Sure.
Think so?
And an African man wants to take over the sewing.
We're only here for the interim. Help and step aside.
Today we see raising of a flag of a nation, and I think that's tremendous progress.
Americans can help, and mission trips can heal, but they know at some point the fabric of this country can only be stronger if people here take ownership. A new generation, people like Stella. The 19-year-old wants to be a nurse. Maybe she'll work at Joseph Dumba's new hospital.
Yeah, I want to become someone important. Yeah.
Maybe Stella is the Joseph Dumba of the future, the difference maker. Maybe it's Julius, reunited with his Sudanese family after 10 years. He could barely remember his mother's voice.
I just couldn't believe it. And I mean, memory, I kind of started recollecting because I thought I forgot what my mom looks like. And then I started remembering.
Maybe others are on the soccer fields or at the creek. Remember little Alex? His appendix ruptured. Emergency surgery 2 days later would save his life.
A lot of the kids I look at and I say, you know, is this the kid we're going to save from this episode of malaria that may have killed him?
Their potential? Just waiting to shine.
Do you see yourself coming back?
Absolutely. As soon as I get another chance, I'm going to bring as much stuff as I can fit in my bag.
One of the things that makes me come back and back again is really my team members, because they give me hope, they encourage me. This is my way of saying thank you for all that you've suffered for, and America, United States has given me the opportunity to be able to train and to become a physician, so it's my time to come back and give a little bit more back to the people here.
The mission team is headed home. Mission accomplished. The clinic will be open soon, staffed by local workers, and planning for a hospital has begun. So they leave this corner of the world a little healthier, changing the landscape of poverty with a touch of hope from the heartland. I'm Julie Cornell.